Hey everybody, welcome to another Maker Series video. Today we're going to be practicing the basics of breadboarding. Let's dive in. For this workshop, we're going to need the following materials: a breadboard, a couple of breadboard jumper cables, a 1 kilo ohm resistor, a 100 ohm resistor, a 5551 NPN transistor, although you can use any NPN transistor, an LED of your choice, a capacitor. I use the 680 microfarad capacitor, but you can use any capacitor of your choice, and of course, the bench power supply. This is the 5551 NPN transistor. We can see that the transistor has a flat and a round side to it. When the flat side is facing us, we can see that the wire all the way on the left side is the emitter of the transistor. The wire in the middle is the base, and the wire all the way on the right is the collector. We won't be using the base in this project. Although you can use any capacitor for this project, I'll be using the 680 microfarad capacitor here. We can see that there's a long and a short lead. These identify the positive and negative leads, respectively. I'll also be using a red LED for this project, although you can use any one that you'd like. We can see that just like the capacitor, the LED has a short and a long lead, the long one being the positive one and the short one being the negative one. For this project, we'll need two resistors, a 100 ohm resistor and a 1 kilo ohm resistor. We can see that the resistors don't have a long or a short end. Therefore, you don't have to worry about which side plugs in where. This is a breadboard. A breadboard is a really simple, solder-free way to build and test prototype circuits. Although they look complex, they're really simple to use. Underneath the array of dots, a breadboard has metallic rails which will provide the electrical connections for your components. In the middle, the electrical rails run horizontally. This is where a majority of your wires and electrical components will go. On each side, you have long vertical rails, and these can be used as your negative and positive rails, which are denoted by a negative and positive sign. The first step in building this circuit is going to be plugging our 1 kilo ohm resistor into the breadboard. We're going to take one end and plug it into the positive rail of the breadboard, and we're going to take the other side of the resistor and plug it into the first hole of any rail that you choose. Moving on, we're going to plug our capacitor in. We want to make sure that you have the positive and negative lead identified, and we're going to plug the positive lead of the capacitor into the same rail as the resistor, and we're going to take our negative lead of the capacitor and plug it into the negative rail of the breadboard. Once again, you want to make sure that the positive end of our capacitor is plugged into the same rail as the 1 kilo ohm resistor. Next, we're going to be taking our transistor and plugging it into the circuit. We want to take the emitter of the transistor and plug it in between the capacitor and the resistor. The base will not be used in this circuit, so you can plug that in any rail, as well as the collector, which will be used, but make sure it's in a different rail. Push it all the way in and make sure the connection is secure. We're going to take our LED and we're going to plug the positive wire of the LED into the same rail as the collector of the transistor. And we're going to take the negative wire of the LED and plug it into another separate rail. Once again, make sure you really push and get the connection to be secure. Finally, we're going to take our 100 ohm resistor, bend it so that we're able to plug it in, and we're going to connect it to the negative end of the LED and take the other end and plug it into the negative rail of our breadboard. We're going to take our two breadboard jumper cables and we're going to plug one of them into the negative rail, and we're going to take the other one and plug it into the positive rail. These are going to be what supplies power to our circuit. We're going to go ahead and connect the negative lead from our power supply to the negative rail of our breadboard. We also want to make sure that we don't let the ground wire and the positive wire touch. You will short the circuit. I'm going to go ahead and connect the positive lead of the power supply to the positive rail of our breadboard. We're going to go ahead and set the power supply up. We turn it on and we see that our voltage and amperage read 0. We're going to go ahead and change that. We're going to set the voltage to 13 volts. And then we go ahead and change the amperage just so that we can let a little bit of current through. Once that's all set, we're going to go ahead and set it, and we're going to turn the power supply on. Voila! There you go, a blinking LED. Thanks for joining us for this Accelerate Maker Series video. I hope you enjoyed building the circuit as much as I did. We'll see you next time.